Hi guys, welcome to the ONI podcast. Today we're talking about nutrition, which is another very important part of our hauora. I'm joined by ONI's very own nutrition coach, Grace Humphreys, but before we get to all that, we have another Māori word of the week, which is...
Ko te kupu taioranga, which means...
nutrition. So, taioranga. Grace?
Do I say it?
Yeah. Taioranga. Are we saying it right?
Yeah, taioranga.
Taioranga.
Yeah, okay. So we got to use that word throughout our conversations today. Otherwise, it's a $1 donation.
Didn't know that. So if you use the word nutrition instead of taioranga...
Yeah, we
Okay.
got to donate $1 each
I'll be
time.
keeping
I'm gonna be
count.
out of pocket.
And do a push-up. I think we should do a push-up too. So anyway, everyone knows that taioranga is important, but it seems like whenever I talk to people about it, all we end up talking about is diets or meal plans or these sort of quick fixes. But taioranga is way more than just that, right? So Grace, what does taioranga mean to you?
Well, if we start with what it doesn't mean to me, I guess. So, yeah, kind of as you said, it's not just a diet or a meal plan. It's so much bigger than that. It's also not like counting numbers or reducing food to
Yeah,
just
because that's
numbers,
like
as is.
so. Obviously, at ONI we're a gym, and we have a lot of clients that know what gyms are. But whenever we talk about food and stuff, it's always like, oh, how many calories should I be eating? How many calories should I be having if I weigh X amount? So it's not just about that.
Nope. Straight up, it's not. No. Yeah, that's food is so much more than numbers, and when we kind of reduce it to numbers, it takes away a lot of the joy that I think people experience from food, particularly. It's a social thing and it's a cultural thing as well. And we want to be able to enjoy the food that we are eating, and when we just put it down to numbers and grams of protein, it takes all the fun out of it. Yeah.
Because I'm very social when I eat. I want to eat with my friends, with my family.
Yeah.
It's important, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So it's not a diet or a meal plan. It's not about counting numbers. Is it a short-term fix?
Well, no, nutrition's not. Like if you were on a meal plan or a diet, then yeah, that would be. But if we're... Oh, I've got to donate $1.
Oh, that's right.
Dang, I just realised. Yeah, no, it's not a short-term fix. Taioranga is more of a long-term thing that you're looking at for the rest of your days, for your lifestyle, really.
I guess it's worth mentioning it's not a one-size-fits-all. Like I can't have one style of a diet plan and be able to recreate the same results with like 50,000 people.
Yeah, exactly. So if you came to see me, I would give you something different to what I would give my mother, let's say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't give you the same thing and expect to get the same results because we're all very, very different. Not just like between the years, with the way that we think about food, but also just our bodies and the way that we process things as well. So, if you find that after you eat a whole lot of bread, you feel, really awful, then I can't give you a plan, let's say, that requires a lot of carbs or a lot of bread.
Yeah.
Like that just wouldn't work. So
Like
yeah.
for me, if I eat a lot of bread, I just feel really bloated.
Yeah. So I wouldn't tell you to go out and eat bread and just disregard what
But
you
I
told
like
me.
bread, though.
Wow. All right. So we find some kind of middle ground then.
But that's it, right? It's gotta be individual,
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
and it's not about excluding things. So I feel
No.
like a lot of diets and meal plans exclude a lot of food groups or certain food types.
Yeah. So absolutely. And like, anyone will know that has ever tried any diet ever. As soon as you take something out and you say, I'm not eating sugar, I'm not eating gluten, or I'm not eating meat,
That's popular
whatever.
right now, eh?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Gluten-free, sugar-free.
Yeah. Yeah, very, very popular, and I guess for kind of good reason.
Or even like the keto stuff, right?
Yeah.
It's like I'm going to eat all meat kind of thing.
So taking out carbs and like primarily just eating fats. So as soon as you take things out, what do you want once you take them out, right? That's the one thing that you want. So if I said, look, Laurent, you can't have any donuts ever again, you'd be like, but I want them. Even if you don't really care about donuts beforehand, you know, but if I'd said you can't have them, you're like, I want it now, you know? And then like feeling that you're restricted and that you can't eat this thing, it becomes this big this big idea in your head that gets blown out of proportion, and it's not, you know, maybe you didn't even want the thing, but now you want it because you can't have
know it because I can't have it.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
Yeah. So like a better way to look at it really is like adding things in. So instead of saying, okay, I'm not gonna have cookies at 3 o'clock in the afternoon when I hit that slump, you'd be better off saying, I'm gonna add in some yogurt, or I'm going to add in a walk down the stairs and some sunshine. So you're kind of displacing the thing that you're trying to get rid of, but you're adding in a positive behaviour in its place.
For sure.
Yeah.
So we talked about what taioranga? No, what am I saying? Taioranga isn't, but what is it to you? How would you explain it to like a client of yours?
So I would say that nutrition is having the freedom to make choices around food and the behaviours that you engage in around food, and be able to do that in a way that makes you happy, that you feel healthy when you do it, and you also feel sane as well. Like it's not driving you nuts.
What do you mean by sane?
Well, a lot of the time, you know, people will have ideas about the way that they need to eat, and you know, as we said, whether it's that diet or that meal plan or cutting out that certain food group, it tends to drive people nuts.
Yeah.
Like the way that you end up responding to food or having something cut out is completely illogical, and certainly in my experience, I don't like feeling you know, out of control and like that there's something wrong with me for wanting a food that I can't have. So yeah, from where I am, taioranga is being able to eat sane and in that sense be able to do it for a very, very long time, because you know, mentally it's good, it sits right with you.
I suppose like people get quite obsessive about it today. For me anyway, I've noticed that if I like in the past I've tried like a meal plan or something like that, and I'll be super strict at it, and it will like stress me the hell out if I like stray from it just for a little bit. You know, it's pretty stressful, but it's not sustainable, is it?
Yeah. So like good nutrition or good taioranga, does that work? Yeah, it is very much sustainable, and you're looking at like the long term, the long termness of it, and often on a plan or whatever it is, it's not set up for that, and it's as soon as life happens, or as soon as you've got you know, a Christmas do to go to, or you know, a kid's birthday party or whatever, that plan immediately doesn't fit, and then you know, you end up feeling crappy or whatever because you can't fit within the plan, or you end up missing opportunities and time with your family or friends because your plan dictates what you're able to do, and then maybe the events that you attend.
Well, it seems like those plans don't factor in or account for life in general.
Yeah, exactly. So it's more it's
like you have to fit your life around the plans, you know? Yes,
one could say that. Yeah. Taioranga is more so about having a plan that fits in and around your life, and you know, there may be times where you put that plan on hold or it takes a back burner for a little bit, but you can come back to it, and you have those foundational habits and skills and tools that you've already developed, which means that, you know, when life happens and you are getting stressed and things aren't going to plan, you can still come back to those foundational habits that you've already built in, and you know, you can do so with not so much thought and energy required. Yeah.
Well, habits sounds like it's the thing to develop, right? Because it's all about habits and lifestyle choices, not just a 1 week quick thing that just makes you all of a sudden healthy, right? So that's what it sounds like to me anyway. Listening to you speak, it sounds like it's about habits and developing them.
Yeah, Yeah, absolutely. And being able to practice those habits as well. And, like developing any habit, whether it's good or bad, it doesn't happen overnight, and it takes repetition and continually working on it. Yeah, and whether the goal of someone is to, get stronger or to change their body composition, they didn't become unhappy with the way that they are overnight either.
Yeah, for sure.
It's been a gradual, more often than not, it's been a gradual process for someone.
Yeah.
And when we try and, right that or become that healthier version of ourselves, I think often the expectation is that it's going to happen immediately just because you've decided it, whereas the reality is that...
I'm going to have a six-pack.
Yeah, exactly. If it was that easy, we'd all have them.
I wish.
Well, some of us do. No, it's just like it takes time to go in either direction, whether you're moving in a less great direction for your health or a more positive one. Yeah.
So habits. Developing foundational habits and having a good relationship with food, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a massive part of it.
Like, what does a good relationship with food look like?
It looks like not having to think about food all of the time. It looks like having space in your mind to be able to, put energy into other things that you want to achieve or go after, rather than just being like, okay, when is my next meal? Because that last one didn't fill me up and I'm still really hungry.
Happens to me all the time.
Yeah. Some of us need to eat a bit more.
Is that the advice you'd give me if I'm feeling like that?
Like what, sorry?
Because I feel like I'm counting the minutes, literally minutes before my next meal.
Yeah. Well, is that the amount of energy that you want to put into your food decisions?
No, I don't want to think about it.
Right, okay. So
I like eating, but I don't want to think about it when I'm hungry, when I'm not eating,
Yeah, sure. So maybe you would look to have some food that you really enjoy in your previous meal, or if you find that you ate it and then half an hour later you're hungry, maybe we would look at see what is in that meal, and whether there's something that we could add to it that's going to keep you fuller for a little longer. So maybe it's a little more protein, or maybe an extra egg or something, or to even make that meal just a little bit bigger, maybe add some veggies to it,
right?
Something like that.
So I shouldn't be feeling like hungry.
Not straight after, no.
Straight after.
What are your thoughts on Jenny Craig? Because my auntie wouldn't be okay with me talking about it, but she doesn't listen. But she was on Jenny Craig for a while. She did lose weight, but she had a strict meal plan, and because she was she's a vegetarian, her meal options were limited as well, and she was feeling really hungry after. She just looked forward to sleep because that was the only time that she wasn't hungry. Wow. And that she lost weight, but she was miserable. Yeah. So what are your just thoughts on
what? Was that worth it for her?
She stopped it. Yeah. So that kind of in and of itself, it tells you that for her in particular, it sounds like that didn't. It worked for her short term, yes, but in that time where it was working, she sounds like she wasn't having a great time. Based on the fact that
how long did she do it?
Wanted to go to sleep.
I think the program was you lose 6 kgs after 12 weeks of being on it.
Right.
So I think it would have been 12 weeks.
Yeah.
Wow.
But then she just stopped because there was a lot of things you couldn't do. You had to just eat only the meals they gave you, nothing else. Yeah. She loved drinking wine and her coffee. Yeah. And the milk, they had to cut the milk out to skim milk, and she was miserable, but it worked. But she's been trying to lose weight for the longest time, but she's too busy to join a gym, and the only option she thought would work successfully was changing her dietary or going on to a different program. But no, she's absolutely right, and there'd be so many people that would be in her boat as well. And I mean, I've been there, and so have a lot of the people that I work with, feeling like all hope is lost and that you've tried everything and nothing is given you that long-term result that you're after. But if you're after something long-term, going on a plan and something that clearly has all these constraints around it,
you can be able to step back and look at that and be like, okay, I don't think this is going to work for me because, already there's this cost involved. It's cut out, as we said before, it's cut out all of these things that you would normally, eat, and whether that was that you would eat them and enjoy them on a very, very small basis, or like it was this food that you ate a heck of a lot of and couldn't control yourself around. Like, regardless of that, still, if you're told you can't have it, you're going to want it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel for it. That's really hard.
But then, like, Jenny Craig and all that stuff, like, they're pretty successful, right? They've got heaps of clientele that they're quote-unquote helping like this.
Mm.
What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, I don't know. Personally, haven't done Jenny Craig, but I don't know. Like, people want help, and
because is it unethical? Because people do want this help, and some people do need this help, and it's maybe not as effective as it could be for a long-term health benefit for their hauora. I'll jot that down, as I said, Bell for that. But you know what I mean? It's like people are in need of help, and I mean it seems to be like the most successful programs that are out there just supposed to help with this stuff doesn't actually help with this stuff in the long term.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a hard one. There's there's so much involved in that. Ethically, there may be a little bit of preying on people and maybe not divulging some information and embellishing others. Whatever the statistics are that they tell you can lose 12 kilos in 6 weeks or whatever. How many people did they have that lost that much weight? And, that doesn't account for the other people that maybe didn't see any success, or they went backwards even in the program.
I wonder what the stat is on all the people that did lose weight, how many of them put it back on?
Yeah.
I think there are stats out there, but I'd be curious to see what they are.
There absolutely would be, because, things like Jenny Craig, people aren't going to be on it forever. And once you've come off a program like that, you're not necessarily set up for success outside of that program either. And that's another reason why being on a meal plan or a certain diet or whatever, it's all right in the short term, but then life goes on outside of that program, and whether you decide to stop it because of finances, or you feel like you've got what you can out of it, or you had these awesome results, whatever it is, there's a reason why they don't give you the steps to be able to succeed outside of that program, right? Because they want you to come back, give them more money, get back into that like that diet rut, and that awful roller coaster of ups and downs of weight and relationship with your body just gets ruined. And
it sounds like a pretty common thing. So I've worked as a personal trainer for a while, and while I don't tackle like taioranga in any depth, because that's not my field, the stories that I hear is like that. Common mistakes people make when tackling fat loss are basically looking at these short-term fixes. Like, we keep bagging on Jenny Craig, but I'm sure there's other things out there, like, have you heard of isogenics?
Yes.
I don't like isogenics.
I've heard you haven't.
Well, I just think it's totally unethical too, because they are selling, or at least marketing, their product in a way that suggests it's a long-term healthy lifestyle choice, when it just sounds to me like an eating disorder. They're replacing meals with shakes. They're going on these cleanses where they're basically starving themselves and trying to perpetuate that as a long-term health habit. I don't think that is.
Yeah, I think any program that says that you need to be on it long-term it kind of almost counteracts what it's saying when it says that it's this long-term lifestyle thing, is that if you need to be on it for the entirety of your life, then
you don't even do an exercise program for that long, It's
no, exactly.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And obviously then there's the other stuff where they're trying to sell it as a passive income as well, which is but
no income is passive.
But anyway, what are some other common mistakes people make when tackling fat loss?
One of the big ones, I think, is trying to do too much at once. So and that doesn't necessarily just like pertain to fat loss either. I think it's just life in general was trying to do all of the things, have, you know, your fingers in all of the pies, but
do all of the things. Like, what are some examples of like the things that people can do all at once when they should be focusing on maybe one or two of them?
So in terms of fat loss, I guess the things that people generally try and do, so maybe starting an exercise program that's potentially too much for where they're at before they start. So, you know, going all into it with the best intentions, but kind of not being aware of their starting point, and also being able to kind of be kind to their body. So, like starting an exercise program, starting maybe a new diet plan as well. You know, completely changing all the foods that they normally eat, so they've got nothing familiar in there. Not knowing how to cook half the stuff, because if they've gone into a new plan and it says you have to eat, trying to think of some like outlandish food. If you had to eat like squid tentacles or something, and they're like, I don't know how to, like, I don't know how to cook this. Like this, you know, that in itself is an obstacle.
Yeah,
so like
I get you.
Trying to change all of these behaviours at once, or maybe they're even trying to add in.
Yeah, because what if they don't even know how to cook like basic things, and all of a sudden they get given this plan that it's like a new recipe every day, and it's like that might be too much for them.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, there's only a certain amount of time that people are willing to set aside for something like fat loss, and if it's being consumed by things like reading new recipes and researching what it is that they're actually drinking or eating or whatever, then
like one thing that I always hear when talking about this stuff is that I always hear I'm too busy.
Yeah,
I don't have time to do this. And it's the same with like any exercise or whatever program, whatever change in lifestyle as well. I'm always too busy. That's what I hear. Like, what can we do about that? Like, what can they do about that?
In my experience, I've heard a lot of that as well, and I feel it sometimes too. You know, like making awesome choices around food. It's not always, well, it's a lot of the time, in fact, it's not the easy decision. No. So, you know, as we were saying before, it's way easier and far more accessible to get, you know, a packet of chips than it is to get a ready-made salad with some boiled egg in it or whatever.
It costs more, right?
Yeah, it costs more, and that's for a lot of reasons as well. But it's there's a lot of like obstacles to be able to make those good decisions.
So what can somebody do about those obstacles? Like, let's start with there's too busy, because there's another one. There's also money involved. But let's start with someone who's too busy. What can they do with that obstacle?
Well, pretty well just like start small. So figure out what it is that they're trying to achieve, obviously, and then be able to kind of work back from that. So maybe even taking a look at what is the thing that you think in your life, if you changed it right now, it would have that impact, that biggest impact. So I think that's in 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, or one of those books. But in terms of your nutrition or your taioranga, that's $2 now. In terms of that, what do you think is the one thing, if you changed it, it would have you know, an impact in your day-to-day life? So whether that is actually getting more sleep, like that comes into it as well. Whether it's getting more sleep, I know. I need more sleep. Working on it. Whether it's getting more sleep, or whether it's you know, eating an extra serving of vegetables or something like that. Starting really, really small and being overly confident that you can achieve that thing, and then being able to set yourself up for success. So again, if it is the vegetable thing and you're saying, I'm going to eat 1 serving a day, you're like, that's super easy, that's fine, I can do that. That's how it should be. So finding that thing that is super, super low-hanging fruit, like really easy for you to grab, really easy to attack, and
smash,
just be super successful with, and then all of those little successes that don't really feel like much, those are the things that accumulate and you know, snowball over time and become those kind of key habits and key foundations, skills and tools and stuff that you're developing, that mean that you're going to continue to be able to do that thing for longer.
For sure. And I've seen that too. Obviously, working with you, you've been telling me to get more sleep. But not just get more sleep. You actually gave me an actionable plan.
Yeah, exactly.
And so sometimes I fall asleep at like 3
a.m.
It's
important to note.
And I need to get up in a few hours.
Yeah.
And I was like, should I just go to sleep at 10? And you're like, well, maybe we'll start smaller. It'll be good if you could sleep at 10, but down the track.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that was good for you to tell me that, because I would have just gone and tried and done too many things at the same time.
Yeah. And then if you'd done 10 p.m. one night, and then maybe you did it 10:30 in the second night, and you had awesome success there, and then you went back to where you were and it was like 2 a.m. 3 a.m. and then maybe you had 4 a.m. Like that's not going to help you be successful, because you're like, man, I failed 4 nights out of 7.
Right. So setting like unrealistic expectations.
Setting unrealistic expectations on yourself is another thing I think people do, whether it's fat loss or changing their lifestyle. Like start really, really small.
Yeah, I do have to say, since sleeping better, I'm getting up earlier. I'm having better breakfast. Yeah. Because that's another thing. Like, I'm too busy. Yeah. But now that I'm sleeping better, I've got more time to make sure I have a better breakfast.
Yeah, exactly.
Better lifestyle habits, pretty much.
Yeah. So if it's the sleep thing, or if it's the vegetables or whatever else, having success in one area of your life is going to. It's just natural that it's going to flow into other areas. So, if you're making good choices at the start of the day, so whether that is sleep or whatever else, if you start your day in that way, it sets the theme for the rest of your day.
I like what you said about choose the smallest thing that's going to make like the most amount of change.
Yeah. And
then celebrating that win.
Yeah, absolutely.
How important is celebrating those little wins?
Well, it's really big, because if you don't celebrate it, that's you acknowledging that it's happening in the first instance, and that you are actually putting some effort and some time and some attention into you, and that's you acknowledging that you have been putting yourself first, which is really hard for a lot of people, particularly ladies that I work with that have got kids or families or are studying or whatever else it is, being able to prioritize you and put some time into whatever it is that you're trying to achieve is massive. So you have to step back and be able to notice that, because if you don't know what's happening, then you're missing a lot of the picture.
For sure. So, what are the top tips for somebody looking to make a sustainable long-term change to their whole order?
Start small.
To do with taioranga.
Just throw that in there. So in terms of your taioranga, I would say to start small. So find the smallest thing that you could do and just take action. That's one of the other really vital things as well. It's all good and well to talk about things that you could do or research it on the internet, but consuming information is very different to taking action. So starting small, find a thing that you could do right now. So a 5-minute action, something that's going to take you less than 5 minutes that you could do on the spot. So maybe if it is the sleep thing, it might be setting an alarm to remind yourself that you need to wind down for bed in half an hour. So that's going to take you very little time, but it's going to set you well for whatever it is that you are working on, and it's going to take a couple of minutes. So starting small, thinking about something that you can do today to get you kind of in the frame and in the mindset of changing your behaviours, but just really doing it one day at a time as well.
Is there any examples that you can give for like some common issues that your clients might have or you might have heard? Like, what's something that they can do today to start small? Like a common one.
Ooh, common one. A lot of my clients will start with as I said, a 5-minute action, and that's going to be up to them. It doesn't necessarily have to be related to, health and fitness and that kind of thing, but just taking any kind of action. So whether that's booking a dentist appointment that you've been putting off, like that is still action, and it breeds taking more action.
Yeah,
but
okay. So it doesn't necessarily have to relate directly to food.
No, it doesn't. So if knowing that that is still something that you want to work on, it's still a really good starting point is to practice making change, because change, again, in itself is a skill. And
not just for food either.
Yeah,
it's
no.
transferable.
No, it's not. So, yeah, practicing making change so that when we start working on those nutritional... Sorry, taioranga, that's 3 now.
I'm keeping track.
Yeah, good. When you are ready to start working on those kind of changes more specific to the foods that you're eating or the way that you're eating or how you are around food, you're actually a little more ready to change because you've already practiced changing.
Nice.
Yeah.
You see.
So either that or just tuning in when you are eating and slowing down. So that's
what do you mean by that?
Well, slowing down when you're eating is
like chewing?
Huge. Yeah, chewing, being present when you are eating, and even like setting. Oh, here's a good one. Even setting a timer for a meal. Let's say it's breakfast. Even just starting with seeing where you're at today. So, okay, well, not breakfast, but let's say dinner. Seeing where you're at. Tonight when you eat your dinner, you might have this idea in your head that you're like, I eat pretty slowly, probably 20 minutes, 25 minutes. If you set a stopwatch when you start and when you finish, I can pretty well guarantee that you'll be pretty surprised at how long it actually takes you to eat that meal.
How long should I take to eat my dinner?
Well, that's pretty individual. It depends on a lot of things, how much food you have on the plate as well. But almost like the longer the better, because if we're tuned in to the food that we're eating, if we're present when it's going in our mouth, we're also going to be better positioned to notice when we're full as well, and kind of pull back a little bit before we get to that uncomfortable fullness, right? So
I'm in the present. I'm being aware of my body and its sensations, rather than just working and eating, and I don't notice what I feel. Yeah. I never practice that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good point.
Yeah, so some like actionable ways that you can slow down when you're eating, as I said, using a timer or a stopwatch to see where you're at today, and then tomorrow, if today is that it took you 6 minutes to eat your dinner, let's say you just smashed it, tomorrow again that small little change, it might be okay. Today I'm going to try for 6.5 minutes.
See.
Or 7 minutes or something like that, or even putting your utensils down in between bites. That's another really good way to slow down too. True.
Do you think people eat too fast?
Yep. I don't think that. I know that. Based on a lot of the people that I've worked with and myself as well, I think the people that eat far too fast and eat far too much massively outnumber those who don't.
I see.
Yeah. Because really, if you think about it, as you said, you're eating and you're working and you're eating and you're working, or you're eating while you're walking, or you're eating in front of the TV. And there's so much research that says that when you're not present with your food, you are inclined to eat a whole lot more. So, if the candy bowl is in reach, I think you're more likely to eat like 70% more than if it wasn't. And like if you're watching a movie and there's popcorn there, you're like 100% more likely to.
I think that's me.
Eat it.
I'm definitely overeating, I think.
Yeah.
Just because I'm doing something else at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of backing for that.
Yeah.
In the scientific community, I guess. That when we're distracted, we eat more, and particularly more of those foods that we wouldn't necessarily do otherwise. Yeah, so a lot of the stuff that's like super processed and not really that nutritionally dense either. Okay. Yeah.
So your top tips for somebody wanting to make sustainable change: start small.
Yep.
Something you can do today.
Yeah, so less than 5 minutes. So 5 minute action, anything that you could almost do now, or could set 5 minutes aside for later on in your day. Yep.
Build little wins.
Yep. So celebrating the successes that you do have, however small or large that they are. So if it is that you went to bed half an hour earlier than what we'd discussed, then that is a win. So, pat yourself on your back, celebrate however you see fit, and use that momentum to propel you forward for
nice.
Every other time.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. I guess I've learned a lot today because obviously nutrition or taioranga is a big topic, and I guess I shouldn't be surprised, but I am surprised at how many other aspects it involves. You're not just talking about food, you're talking about everything to do with your whole order.
Yeah.
With sleep, with stress, with your social aspects, with your relationship with work as well.
Yeah.
And everything else, it's all in one. So that's really cool. So you are a nutrition coach, obviously, and actually you're a nutrition, an ONI nutrition coach. So you'll be able to find Grace on our website at www.oni.co.nz, and you help people with this. You help them put together actionable plans, and map out where to go.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit how that works.
Yeah, sure. So, kind of just as you said, basically, is that I work with people that are, at a point where they feel like they've exhausted all of their options and nothing's worked for them long term, and they're just kind of in that loop of doing a diet, seeing some success, and then, having that massive kind of roller coaster of ups and downs of diets, and it cuts into their belief in themselves and how they feel that they are as a person, because they have all of these all of these crappy moments when they're on these demoralizing, that's a good word. These people that are just demoralized by being on these diets and feeling like they're absolute failures for not being able to stick to a thing that was never made for success in the first instance. So I work with a lot of people like that, and we come up with a plan. They come up with the plan. I kind of help them and facilitate a plan of action that's going to help them get to where it is that they want to go. As we talked about today, we break down the things that they're trying to achieve into really, really small tasks, and we just continue to build on them, and we build in habits that are gonna help the person out long term. So things like eating slowly, as we talked about, and minimizing distraction when you're eating, working on our sleep, those kind of things.
Like you say, foundational habits. Transfer not just to the food habits, but every habit, every lifestyle.
Yeah, so we build the skills, tools, and habits to live a long and healthy life, and to be able to eat and move and live, your best version of yourself.
Ooh, I like that. All right. That's all we have time for, I think, for today. Thank you very much for coming in, Grace, talking to us about taioranga. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that word, but I think we did pretty good. I've taken some notes on everything, but also how many words we missed. I think in total, both of us did 8. So that's $8 for the jar. That's not bad. I think the first time we did like 10 or something, because we couldn't say haora for the longest part of the first podcast. But anyway, thank you very much, Grace.
Thank you.
Thank you, Danny, for teaching us some words for today. All right, back to you.
Thank you both so much for joining myself this afternoon. But yeah, I actually learned a lot, because I didn't realize how much things you shouldn't do that I'm doing. But it's like unconsciously, like I don't have a routine, so I don't actually have a bedtime, and I'm always like, now I was just yawning throughout the whole time, the whole podcast. But yeah, my sleep schedule is off, and it's like affecting me, because it's making me like real sluggish and quite lethargic. So yeah, I was listening, and it's helped a lot. Well, I just need to write it down to remember. And what else? And then I know a lot of people who've tried, like, so many people try diet plans. I don't understand why. I've never tried it myself. But I don't know very many people who've successfully achieved their goal with their dietary plan. And then I know a lot of people who say no, it's supposed to be a lifestyle, right, as opposed to like a short term plan or short term goal. And so for me, if like my biggest struggle is starting, like with anything, it's just like I've been meaning to go to the gym for the last 2 years and I've yet to start. And you can say it as many times as you like, but as you said before, it's different as opposed to like taking action. So I think as well as that, like you need to find motivation, like proper motivation. You can, and I need that motivation. I'm just super tired, and I think that living a good, healthy.
See Grace.
Yes, great.
Find some motivation. Start making that change.
And if you see like other people around you doing it as well, that kind of inspires you and pushes you to do it, as opposed to like doing it on your own. And it's not. I don't know. It could be a fun experience.
Yeah.
Actually, Grace manages a little, well, not a little, but a group where you've got pretty much a community of people with similar goals that get the benefit of not being alone in their journey.
Yeah, absolutely. Just hanging out.
Yeah, just hanging out. We go through the same stuff.
Yeah.
And you give them like really, really good value. You give them good tips every single week, which is actually really amazing.
Yeah, they're a lucky bunch.
Oh, yeah. I want to join.
Yeah, me too. So we have 1 minute till the end of our first holder. Ka teika timata te wātea, ka teika te hoki mai ki toki nei taha, māku e purei. Te towha just after whā. So ko te kupu, the word that we used this week is taioranga, which means
nutrition.
And last week, do you remember what the word was?
Oh, it was kore tinana.
Kore tinana.
Or workout.
And before that,
it was hauora.
Yes.
Health or wellness.
Onto it. So kore tinana, hauora and taioranga, koe ranga kupu e toru mo tēnei wiki, e angana ki tēnei o ngā kōrero. Engari, mautonu mai ko tēnei te hōtaka o Tāohi take over, ko tēnei te reo irirangi o te upoko o te ika aku mihi kia korua mo te noho. Hei tērā wiki, next Tuesday you'll be back.
Yeah, I'll be back every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday.
ONI podcast.
Do you know who's coming or
no,
little?
Not confirmed yet. It's a surprise.
Okay, so we have 10 seconds.
10 seconds.
Trying to drain out the time.
You know, this whole time we were talking about making change, I was thinking about that Michael Jackson song, Man in the Mirror. Yeah.
After
it starts
what,
with me.